out on that field today. Ask yourself this question. What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We made it! We made it! We made it! We made it! I'm going to the house! I'm going to the house! When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it. It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? It's hot now. It's hot now. It's hot. We made it. I'm going to the house. I'm going to the house. We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, how we the Miami Heat of football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to buckle up your chin straps. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from them. He's a man. They can be a hit just like us. He's a man. You already make the big money. He's a man. Don't cry when you step on the field, man. That's who I did. When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like. Oh, my bad. You haven't worked in my world. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We made it. I'm going to the house. I'm going to the house. It's a wrap. Game over.
Hell no. This game is just getting started right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It's Freestyle Friday, and I had to pull out one of the heavy hitters all the way from Atlanta, GA. I call her the queen of the Black College experience. It's none other than Double K. Keisha Kelley, what's going on with you?
How are you, AJ?
I'm doing great. How are you is the question.
Busy, but I'm good.
Yeah, doing amazing things. Keisha, I have been so proud of you and all the amazing things that you're doing through Black College Experience. I mean, oh my gosh, girl, you are phenomenal on a whole nother level.
Thank you. I'm not going to blush. I'm going to try to remain humble. But this week I've been like, listen, we didn't work our butts off. I'm going to brag a little bit because it's been a busy time. It's been a really busy time.
Yeah, well, let me just tell you, Anthony Brown says there's blessings on top of blessings on top of blessings, and that's really what's been happening for you. You've been putting out, giving out scholarships. You have been getting recognition. You have been adding to the different platforms that you have been a part of. Go ahead and give everybody just a, for those who don't know, a rundown of Black College Experience, what you do, how you do it, and where you do it.
Okay, so Black College Experience, of course, we are a HBCU sports podcast, and that's what our actual vision is, to bring positive exposure to HBCU athletics. So, of course, we cover the four main, G1, first G1, G2 campus. So we cover those conferences, SEAC, MEAC, SWAC, and then CIAA, and then we cover the independent conferences. And then, of course, we'll go over to the OVC because Tennessee State is housed there. So as the vision started out, I guess about 2015, it was really just a conversation. And then we actually moved over to actually covering these different conferences and what they were doing. So we, as I call them, the diamonds in the rough, the stories, the people that we didn't hear about, the Tariq Cohens that we didn't hear about. These kids or these people were discovered. And so we started talking more and more about their stories. And, we've interviewed these people, brought them on live, let them tell their stories, athletes, coaches, commissioners, everybody that's on their staff, to tell the stories of athletics and the HBCU experience. And so after that, it went over into, we did the internet radio. We're traveling all over the place. And then we eventually went over into podcast. And pretty much after that, my vision was always just to bring exposure to the athletes. And then from last year we awarded 2 scholarships. We raised $800, 2 scholarships, one to a student at Howard University, one to my own alma mater, Southern University, to this year, by God's grace, $3,500, where we were able to award 7 students $500 scholarships. Keep in mind, we're in a pandemic, and I'm on furlough. So I say that to say this: whatever the mission is that God gives you, you keep going, because we know it's by God's grace that we're still here.
I mean, I gotta do it like that, because that's outstanding. Like you said, in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of your own situation, that vision is growing, it's being fed. And I ain't trying to preach to nobody, but this is where he said, and I will supply all of your needs according to what? My riches and glory. So, Keisha, I'm so proud of you. Thank you for staying faithful to the vision that was you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, listen, we gotta tell you, you've been getting a lot of love on in the NBA bubble. There is a guy that's near and dear to my heart, CP3, Chris Paul, that has been rocking the kicks from every different HBCU. How huge has that been? How has that been for that kind of exposure and recognition?
Well, yesterday was Wednesday. No, yesterday was Thursday. On Wednesday, I made a post. I said, please let CP3 wear Southern before they get kicked out the playoffs. And then yesterday, he comes out with Southern. So hey, people just have to understand how I feel, because we've been waiting, and we're trying to understand how he's strategically putting this together. And that shirt went hot. That shirt, after he rocked that shirt, so many people were buying that shirt. I was one of the people I bought that shirt as well. But, just to see him actually honor HBCUs, to see the North Carolina A&Ts, the North Carolina Centrals, the A&Ms, the Southerns, the Albany States, the Langstons, just to see him pay a tribute to our Black colleges means so much. And for people that don't know, he has a foundation that he and his brother, they're actually connected to North Carolina Central, but they've done like $50,000 donation. They're connected to Winston-Salem State as well. So they do a lot. Even though he went to Wake Forest, they do a lot for the Black colleges, especially in Carolina. So to see that, it wasn't. So I'm actually putting together something. I'm going to do a story on this whole thing. Well, once they get out of playoffs, if they make it out, I'll have to prolong it. But I'm actually going to do a story on it and all of the sneakers and all of the things. But it was definitely major. It was definitely a major thing.
Yeah, especially when you get to his story. He went to a PWI, went to Wake Forest, and but everybody else in his family went to HBCUs. And he even said he felt like he kind of missed out on that experience. So this was his way of honoring, kind of being a part of, and representing what his family stood for. I think it's phenomenal. And that's Chris Paul. That's the kind of dude that he is.
Right, and even if yesterday, even looking, he has like the Breonna Taylor, he has all the little messages on the sneakers. We had a cousin that went to Southern, so if you tuned in or zoned in, I think it was Chad Jones or something, was his cousin that graduated from Southern in 2004. Now, somebody had to tell me that, because I didn't even know that, and I'm like, wow. So, that's major. So, to get that kind of publicity and, to have somebody on that, that level showing love to HBCUs, it's major. It's major.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Keisha Kelley joining us here on the lunch break. She is the founder and host and just doing amazing things with Black College Experience. At the end of her segment, she's definitely going to give you all the contact information, how you can find her, follow her, because it is this amazing work. Keisha, so, we got this social justice movement going on where, folks are starting to say Black Lives Matter and what have you. But even before that, you had young people that were starting to say, hey, listen, I'm the talent. I'm the one that everybody's hollering for. I don't have to go to a Duke or an Alabama or Clemson or Ohio State. I can go to Hampton. I can go to Howard. We're starting to see folks making those decisions to choose HBCUs over PWI schools.
And so, when we see this, we start what we call it something, the culture shift. When we see the culture shift starting to happen, where they are choosing the Howards, the Hamptons, the Alabama States, you see the Mikey Williams, you see the maker mob coming through. You see all of these people starting to come through between Howard, Alabama State. You see all these people starting to sign. We're excited, and the other people are getting bothered. They're worried, like, okay, why all of a sudden? And we're thinking to ourselves, there are so many kids committing to the Dukes, the North Carolinas. Not taking anything away from those schools, but people are committing to those schools. And a lot of times you're not coming off the bench anytime soon as to where you can choose a Southern, a Grambling, a Alcorn, Alabama State, and you can get that playing time, be it, football, basketball, whatever the sport is. And so when we see a lot of these kids choosing our schools over these Power Fives, we see these 5-stars committing to our schools, it's like now we can compete. And in my mind, it's still X's and O's. We can compete anyway. The only other thing is, okay, you have a bigger facility, but we can't use facilities as excuses anymore, because for anybody that's been to Prairie View, you know what's rocking and knocking over there. So we can't even use facilities. You can't even use facilities as an excuse, because we got some amazing stuff going on. So when they start committing to our schools, it's a shift, and it's a turn of the tides. And, a lot of stuff has happened, but it took all of that to happen for us to arrive at this point.
Yeah, and Keisha, I want to talk about that. We got to take a quick break. When I come back, I want to talk about why some feel like it's a step down, like you're not going to get this or you're not going to have that by going there versus by going to one of the major programs. And I want to talk about that, because it's not that by any stretch of the imagination. So we'll do that next. We got Keisha Kelley joining us here on the lunch break. So glad to have her on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. We'll be right back right after this.
I'm Linda J. We all know Election Day is just around the corner. We want change. We need change. We can be the change. Exercise your right for change on Election Day. Don't talk about it. Let's be about it. So let's roll to the polls in record numbers, and we can make that change. This message is approved by KYOK 1140 AM, 92.3 FM, and KYOKradio.org.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who've helped people that have been injured or wronged. Have you been diagnosed with cancer? Are you one of the millions who have taken Zantac or other generic versions of this
look up right quick.
to treat stomach issues? Then pay close attention to this message. The FDA said it detected a probable cancer-causing chemical known as NDMA.
Oh, gotta do it again. I'm sorry.
This popular drug. They've banned sales and even removed it from the market. If you've been diagnosed with cancer and you've taken Zantac or a generic equivalent, call the legal helpline now. You could receive a free cash award and have your medical expenses covered. And there's no upfront cost to you. They only get paid if you win. So please call now. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. That's 800-251-7816.
I'm going to tell you how you can get real health insurance for as little as $6 a day. Yes, now you can get affordable health insurance for you and your family immediately, starting at just $6 a day. And coverage is guaranteed regardless of your medical condition. That's right, for about $6 a day, you can have guaranteed health insurance. And there's dental, vision, and prescription coverage too. You owe it to yourself and your family to make this free call right now and learn more. There are no deductibles, no waiting period, no contracts, and coverage is guaranteed. Call National Health right now for your risk-free, guaranteed health insurance quote.
I'm tripping off my name, Corey, under things. I'm just looking at my thing rolling across the street.
800-797-0921. 800-797-0921.
Exactly. I'm famous now. I'm famous.
797-0921. Paid for by Go Health.
Stand by.
Now is a great time to replace your worn-out windows during the Renewal by Andersen 25-year savings event. Upgrade your home today. Buy 4 windows and get the 5th one free. Plus, get 12 months with no interest, no money down, and no payments. Call now. Get 4 windows and get the 5th one free. Installation and warranty included. Renewal by Andersen takes every CDC-recommended safety precaution to protect your family. For 25 years, people have trusted us for their window replacement needs, and you can too. Call now to learn about our buy 4, get the 5th one free window replacement offer.
800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. That's 800-245-1537.
Hey, what's going on? This is Lecrae, and right now you're listening to The Lunch Break.
All right, y'all, we're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I'm AJ Jones. It is our Freestyle Friday, and I'm freestyling with one of the best in the business. It is Keisha Kelley with the Black College Experience. She is phenomenal. And Keisha, before the break, we were talking about, kind of a shifting, as you put it. I love those words, of people realizing that, there's good opportunities at HBCUs and not just at the powerhouses, Alabama, Duke, North Carolina, Ohio State, Clemson, you name it. And that's in all sports. That's not just in football or basketball. When you look at the Maker family, what they chose to do, there was a young man up at University of Cincinnati, and he chose an HBCU. And it's just, there have been several here lately. Why do you think some feel like it's a step down as opposed to a positive step because they're going to an HBCU?
Well, when it comes to the HBCU factor, so many times, they go into the PWIs, they're used to the facilities, they're used to the different living styles, they're used to the boosters, they're used to a lot of things. That's where in the HBCU, we're used to having to grind. We're used to having to work. We're used to having to, it's like a dog-eat-dog world. We're understanding that we have to literally hustle for everything that we get. So we know that it's genuine. We know that it's legit. So when they come to our schools and they consider them the small schools or the schools that don't have, or the schools, it's because with our schools, we make things happen with a little. So we can do major things with little things, as to where they can have billions of dollars and they can still have a struggle. We're used to coming from nothing, going into something. So when they step into our side and they see our guys or our girls or whatever it is, whatever sport it is, they feel like it's a step back because you're used to, you're used to nutrition programs and you're used to these fancy facilities with all of these weight programs and all of these things, as to where we don't have nutritionists and people like this. Like, hey, you going to the CAP, you going to eat these beans and rice. Listen, if I tell you need to lose weight, that's what you're going to do. We don't have all of those people on those staffs like they do. So they feel like it's almost like, okay, you've been at the house with your parents for 18, 19 years. And so I'm sending you over here to this place. And it's almost like you feel like it's a scale back after you've been baby for so long.
Wow. You know what? That's an amazing description of that, because as you were talking, I was thinking about, my days at Tulane, and it was different. I was in a particular dorm, but when it was athletic time, then, I move over into the athletic dorm, and it's a whole different deal. It's a whole different deal with where you get your food from, with where you do your laundry, where you do everything is a different deal. But in that HBCU.
Wait, you play sports? You play sports at Tulane?
Yeah,
you play sports?
Yeah, don't nobody. Don't run that down. I got phenomenal stories about my days on the scout team. So anyway, but Keisha, I mean, really, it's almost like for some, it's a natural transition from your family to a different family in the HBCU experience. Talk about that family environment and how that could be as good, if not better in some cases, for our young men and young women.
It's, with HBCU, one of the main things we talk about is family. We talk about family, we talk about tradition. And I don't care how many essays I've written or read. I don't care how many times I talk to students. I don't care how many times I come across students in 20, 25 years, even mentoring students going to HBCUs. The first thing they say is, when I stepped on campus, it was a family-oriented environment. It felt like I was supposed to be there. They take care of us. They treat us just like family. And so being that you're transitioning, for a lot of people, it can be hard. I was an out-of-state student, but as most people, you see, I'm radio, so I talk. I'm a talkative person, but everybody doesn't transition like that. I have a nephew that's at Tennessee State that's graduating next year, and my nephew was completely opposite for me. So you need those people that's going to come in and take care of you, that's going to foster you, that's going to be your friends, that's going to take you under their wings and tell you when you're doing wrong, tell you, hey, don't do this, and hey, don't do that. It's the whole environment that you go to. It's not just the football games. It's not just the band. It's not just the Greek. It's just the whole thing from the day you step on campus. You know, you're going to endure the registration, the financial aid. Those are stories that you're going to take with you to the end of time. And I mean, I was at Southern like some 20 odd years ago, but those are stories that we take with us over the course of time, because it's all about family. People that we met our freshman year, they turn from friends to family. Those are people that we still keep in contact with. And it was all because of the HBCU experience.
Yeah, I got to give you that, because I used to say it. I'm going to tell on myself. I used to say that the HBCUs had to step up when it came to, registration and that kind of stuff. And then I had to check myself and say, you know what? I had registration problems at Tulane. They messed up, my financial aid at Tulane. There were times when my stuff didn't get transferred and I couldn't get calls back and stuff like that. I don't know why some people judge HBCU, and I'll even go bigger, Black-owned businesses harsher than they judge other schools and other businesses. It's almost like you'll take it from them, but you don't want to take it from the Black-owned experience.
And that's the thing that I tell people all the time. I was like, if we can just judge our counterparts the same way, if you're expecting me to present you with something different, I'm not. If you're not expecting them to give you something, why are you expecting me to give you something? And it's like you said, it's almost like we'll take it from them, but it's like if we make just an inch of a mistake, it's all blasted on social media. I'm not supporting, I'm not doing, and things of that nature. And I think a lot of times that's when we come across the conflict. And, it's so much easier for us to blast people on social media and complain about it and vent about it. But I tell people, you find somebody that you can go to on campus, and make that your go-to person for 4 years. I don't care if you got to call them about a cafeteria issue. They know somebody that can get you to the right place. Find that person to connect with, because once again, you're talking about family. Find that person that you can connect with, and then that will be your go-to person when you have issues on campus.
Absolutely. Keisha, we got to take another break. It'll be a short one. We'll be right back. Keisha Kelley, Black College Experience, joining us right here on the lunch break. Now, don't get it twisted. She knows sports now. She knows sports, and we'll get into a little bit of that in a second, too. But I want to talk about these HBCUs real quick. We'll do that next, right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM.
The legendary KYOK 1140.
I like your shirt. I like your shirt.
KYOK 92.3 FM.
Wait, did you have on an Alcorn shirt the other day, though?
I did.
I almost blocked that one. I was scrolling through. I was like, is that an Alcorn shirt?
So I'm not trying to duplicate what Chris Paul is doing. And actually, I was doing mine a little sooner. I have a day a week that I rep HBCU.
Nice.
Yeah.
I might try that, but I mean, Grambling might get left off of mine. I'm just joking. I do. I think I might take it.
You got to be unbiased for it to work, Keisha. You got to be unbiased.
I think I might try that, but of course I probably start with the Louisiana school. So I probably start with and I actually had tried that before, but I'm like, okay, that's a lot of T-shirts. I got to buy 100. Well, I say 101. I got to buy a bunch of T-shirts. That's a lot of T-shirts I got to buy.
Keisha, you just said it now. You buy a bunch of clothes from somewhere else, get them T-shirts, because I'm the same way. And somebody said, well, I can send you some from here and some from there. And I was like, man, I appreciate that, but I'm going to get my butt out there and buy a few too. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I think I'll do that. So I already got Southern. I think I got a Grambling shirt and a Tennessee State going to somebody else. But I was like, I think I got some shirts, so I think I'll do that. I think I'll do that. Everywhere I go, I think I'll do that.
There you go.
I think I'll do that.
And watch this. Give me your information, because as I'm ordering for me, I'll let you know, hey, I just got you one. I'm shipping it to you. That way you don't have to duplicate.
Okay. I appreciate it.
We in this thing together, okay?
Thank you so kindly.
Okay, don't Alcorn though.
For your entire home. Yes, fast internet to surf.
You know what? One of my other new favorite schools is Miles College.
Learn how to drop your
expenses.
I love Miles College.
Oh yeah, no, I can, and it's so funny because Coach Ruffin is one of our favorite. We interviewed both brothers, so we interviewed the one from Edward Waters, and then we interviewed the one that said Miles, which Miles was the winning one. And so he is. I mean, Coach Ruffin at Miles, he's just as humble, and he's just a great guy. He really, really is, which is so crazy because the year before, when they won the SEAC championship, I had talked to them media day, and I said, and I think the conversation was, it's not how you start, but it's how you finish. Mm-hmm. And the night that they won, I was in Birmingham covering that, and we looked at each other and we started laughing. I said, Coach, remember, it's not how you start, and he finished it. He said, but it's how you finish. We remembered that from 4 or 5 months before, because it wasn't predicted that Miles was going to finish. I think it was actually Tuskegee. And just to see that it was Tuskegee on one side, and I think Albany State on the other side, and just to see how that game played out, it was like, oh, okay. And then they turn around and did it again. It was like, okay, well, Miles is on they're running. They're running through some right now.
That's all right. Stand by. We get ready to come back.
Set aside to compensate those injured. Time is limited, and so are the funds. Call today. Don't wait. For free information on how to file your claim, call All Survivors Advocates right now. We have a long track record in helping our clients get the legal justice and compensation they deserve. Please, we are ready to help you. Call today.
800-351-7914. 800-351-7914. 800-351-7914. That's 800-351-7914.
Hey, what's up? This your boy James Fortune, and you are listening to The Lunch Break. Keep it locked.
All right, y'all. We're back here on The Lunch Break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It's our Freestyle Friday, man. I'm telling you, I've been excited about this show ever since. Somebody said, I said, when can I have you on my show again? They said, when you want. I said, tomorrow. They said, that's Friday. No, I said, Friday. They said, tomorrow. I said, yup. I think I sent you the Ice Cube thing where he said, yeah.
You did.
I'm so glad to have you back, my friend. And Keisha Kelley.
Thank you.
Founder of Black College Experience. She hosts a podcast, does amazing things. They give out scholarships. I'll let her give you the rundown again. We were talking offline. I was telling you that I do a day where I rock gear from HBCUs, and I'm not saying I did it before Chris Paul, but I did it before Chris Paul. And I have different people that see my shirts, and like one of my frat brothers from Xavier is sending me some gear. I've got a frat brother from Alabama. He's gonna send me some gear. And hey, man, I'm just saying, we gotta rock us. We gotta rock us because it is
now,
not.
Is that Alabama A&M or Alabama State?
Both.
Okay.
And see, that's what Keisha, you can't be biased. You gotta rock.
I'm not. Well, no, you said Alabama, so I'm trying to figure out, is it Alabama A&M or is it Alabama State? So I was just confused on which Alabama. I was confused. No, Alabama A&M is home, so no, I'm not. I don't. I absolutely love both schools. I absolutely do.
But you know what I got to do is I got to get out of the SWAC because I'm pretty SWAC focused right now. Prairie View, TSU, I'm pretty SWAC focused right now. I got to get in that MEAC. I got to get in the, SAIC. I got to grow up.
And it's funny because my co-host is, I'm in the SWAC, but my co-host is more SWAC driven. And because I'm in Atlanta, I'm more SEAC driven. So I'm Morehouse, Clark, Atlanta. I'm Chip Tuskegee. I'm the SEAC person, and he's the SWAC person. And I said the same thing. I was like, listen, we got to venture into the MEAC. We got to go into the CIAA. So we're looking at like, oh, okay, we have Bethune-Cookman and FAMU, and then here they come over here to the SWAC. I was like, well, y'all just messed us up. So now that just messed up my MEAC stuff. And then North Carolina A&T decided they want to transition. I'm like, okay, we got to get to them. But yeah, we promised to do better in 2021.
You know what? And you and I talked about that. You and I talked about when we went to the Celebration Bowl that North Carolina A&T has won that thing. How many times have they won that?
4.
I mean, it's almost like they don't get the same kind of respect that an Alabama would get or that a Clemson would get. And they should be getting that. I mean, think about how hard that is to win your championship on any level, not once, not twice, 3 times, 4 times. They won that. And that's why I respect what you're doing with Black College Experience, because if we don't talk about it, nobody else will.
Correct. And if you do, and this is not a knock to anybody, but if you pay attention now, all of a sudden you're seeing more people want to start talking about Black college sports. And a lot of people are starting to pay homage to Black college sports. And we're thinking in our minds, well, where y'all been at 2 years ago? Where were y'all at before all of this Black Lives Matter, or before these athletes start shifting to black colleges, before 5-stars start choosing HBCUs? Where were y'all at before Chris Paul started paying homage? Because, see, like I tell people, well, y'all just now catching on to the Tariq Cohens. We were catching on to the Tariq Cohens when he was playing in the first Celebration Bowl. We saw that when he was running all over the place. Y'all just now catching on to what we already knew. Yeah. So you see a lot of people coming into that, and it's so funny. Jokingly, we talk about how we talk about the rivalries, and we talk about how people aren't shown love. And I tell people this every time. I carry 101 HBCUs on my back every single day. Every single day, it's 101 of them that I will stand up for. I don't care which one it is. And I think a lot of times we miss that point. Like, we feel like because it's not an Alabama, or it's not a Tennessee, or it's not an Auburn, or it's an LSU or Ohio, that they don't deserve the same respect. North Carolina A&T, Coach Washington, they were really out there doing their thing. And they were knocking off schools that were not in conference. Right. So that's something else that we have to pay attention to, but we don't get the same respect because we're considered the small black school. Yeah, I will never forget the meme or the gif of Coach saying, "Tell them, bring me my money." Bring me my money. I mean, that's because he won one of those money games where they're playing FBS school, and they didn't just go in there to get a check. They went in there, took a check. Come on here, somebody. And that's what I told them. I said, and then you know when you win the game, they're not going to invite you back next year. So go ahead and scratch that off the schedule because you're not coming back. And you weren't supposed to win. I don't care if you won by 3 points. You're not invited back the following year. Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I feel like I'm kind of jumping around because I know I only got you for a limited time. Not long ago, LSU announced that they were going to play Southern, and they were going to play Grambling, I believe, in Louisiana. Talk about that from the positive, because there was also some negative that came out of that as well. But I want to hear your thoughts because you as locked into it as anybody is. You know, from my standpoint, I really didn't care for it. And, you know, people talk about it's just football and it's just this and that. And I always look at it from the standpoint of not just in like the media. I don't look at it from the fan side. I look at it from supporting the student athlete, having the student athlete's best interest at heart. And if you're going to do it, make sure you're going to get paid for it. And when I say get paid, I'm talking about $2 or $3 million on the table paid, because they got it. Yeah. So if you're going to do it and get paid for it. You know, you can't be going out there cutting deals for less than $1 million. You just got to go out there and you got to get the money. If they asking for the band and the team, hey, that's a package deal. We need $2 million. And that's just how I am. Everybody is not a business person. That's how we are. We negotiate. We understand. So my thing is we need to walk away where it's not only feasible to you, but it's also feasible to me. My thing is I don't like the racial climate with LSU. We have sat on social media and we saw how the ignorance and the unintelligent and the racism spews all across the social media, and how they talk about us and disrespect us. And, you know, and in hindsight, they want the band. So we you know, Southern and LSU been in the same city for how long? And you ain't never played them. So now why all of a sudden you want to play them? So in my opinion, it's just, for me, it was a no-go, and I don't make the decision. So, but for me, it was just like, you know, it has to be something that's worth it. You compare the guys, it has to be something that's worth it. And after hearing some of the comments from LSU's coach and hearing stuff from those LSU fans, to me, it's definitely a no-go. Yeah, I got to tell you, Keisha Kelley joining us from Black College Experience here on Freestyle Friday on the lunch break. I got to tell you, had David Grubb on Wednesday. When we were talking on Wednesday, and we were talking about LSU because the rape allegations came out about Darius Geis and the fact that, you know, these ladies reported it and nothing happened. LSU has been that school that is, if there is an epitome of what privilege looks like, that's LSU. They literally are not beholden to anybody, especially in the state. You know, there's no judge, there's no governor, there's no lieutenant governor that's going to hold LSU accountable for anything, because most of them either graduated from there or know someone of influence that did. LSU, right.
treated Ohio State like they were, calling their players monkeys and jungle monkeys and all this kind of stuff. It's the Ohio State University. They've been around longer than you. But that's LSU, some people at LSU's mentality. And that's what I worried about with Grambling and Southern going in there to play one of those money games. I don't want our kids treated like that.
Correct. And that, we feel the same way. And you have to think about it. It's not just on game day. It's not just a game day. You got to think about the morale. You got to think about the crowd. Think about people, how they are when they start drinking.
Right.
So it's going to be a lot of stuff that factors into it. It's not like they're just going in to play a game and leaving out. You got to think about everything that's centered around that. And I even remember a couple of years ago when Georgia Tech played Alabama A&M, and I mean, of course it was like blowout, but I remember them, they being in like blackface, a bunch of stuff like that. And this wasn't even 10 years ago. So you talk about that kind of stuff, and they think that it's just having fun, but this is a time when you call people to the table. This is a time when you call people out on this stuff. They keep letting this stuff go by. And I think yesterday was listening to a story on the local news in Baton Rouge where a former tennis player from LSU was saying that it was understood that you didn't tell on certain athletes from certain sports. So we can pretty much figure out what that was, because you felt like, of course, you would be discriminated against, and of course they will retaliate against you, and you wouldn't be able to work in their athletic department. Her words, not mine. So I tell people, it is. It's hard being a woman in this industry. It's hard being a woman in this industry, and to work in those type of environments, I can totally believe that they face that kind of stuff. And again, I don't want our kids to be subjected to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Over a money game. Again, Keisha Kelley joining us here on the lunch break. She's with the Black College Experience, and I appreciate you, Keisha, staying as long as you're staying. Let's talk about this. The HBCUs literally have led the way when it came to this coronavirus and whether or not the school should play sports, given what they knew at that time. Talk about what that meant for Morehouse to say, "Yo, we're not playing. We'll look at it again in the spring. The SWAC. We're not gonna play. We'll look at it again in the spring." And then you had the Ivy League and some others come on board, but it was the HBCUs that led the way.
So I do. I say this, and I really don't reserve anything. I don't hold my tongue. I was like, thank God we care about our student athletes. People take from that what they want to. I'm glad that we have a commissioner that can actually make decisions and go to the president's council. I'm glad that they can make decisions and they can monitor from day to day and follow CDC guidelines and say, hey, there's no amount of money that's this big that we have to put student athletes' health and lives at bay just to play a game. And then you got so many stipulations. How many people can play? How many feet apart? What has to be sanitized? How many people can be in the actual game? Where they can sit? How about season ticket holders? What about students? It's so many things. So, of course, people just had to adjust to this is the new normal. I won't be able to have football season. So everybody had gotten used to that. And so then when it was released, that will be moved to the spring. Then you had to wonder what was going to happen. Who are we going to play? What games are going to be played in the spring? And so when you had the SEAC, you had the MEAC, you had the SWAC, and the CIAA, and then, of course, the OVC came in. What Tennessee said, you had all these conferences that actually canceled, but we can still look at people that still saying, we're going to play, but we're going to play. But we're looking at it as we're being precautious, and we actually care about the student athlete's safety first. And, they had this whole thing, we want to play. And I saw something where it said, well, we never had an option because we're thinking on the smart side. We're thinking about the student athlete. We're considering the student athlete, and your parents sent you to school, and we're considering your health, and we're responsible for you once you get there.
See, that part, and I'm glad you brought that out, because the argument that I've heard from people that call themselves my friends and colleagues, but AJ, the HBCUs don't have the amount of money at stake as the Big 12, the Pac-12, the Big 10, the ACC, and the SEC. And I said, you just proved my point. at a certain point, the money becomes more important than the athletes themselves. And oh yeah, they are the one group that's not getting paid. And don't try to sell me on this nonsense about whether they get a scholarship. I want to start smacking people that keep using that as the argument that they use it. But for them, it's about the money. And I don't want anybody's kid put behind a money decision. This is a health decision that we still don't know the full ramifications thereof. So I'm real proud of it, even more proud of the HBCUs now than I was before.
And I mean, you look at how many, your bench pressing going to be close to 200,000 people. How many people have died behind this virus? And you have people that's literally, and I see people saying all the time, we want to play. And I just look at it, and for us, we'll say, okay, well, we know the spring is coming, and we just kind of look at videos, and we look at throwback games, and we kind of reminisce on what happened last season, and we just say, okay, this is what happened, this is what could have been, and we just move on. But to subject those kids to that, and a lot of times it's not those students, it's not those student athletes saying we want to play, it's those people that's in high places saying you're going to play, because you're going to make us this money, and we can't afford for you not to play. So that's who's making decisions. That's who's wanting to play. It's not necessarily those student athletes.
Right there in your own state, right there, not too far from where you are, Georgia State University, their freshman quarterback is unable to play because of a heart condition that he developed after contracting COVID-19. That is exactly what the Big Ten said was the reason why they're choosing to wait until the spring and not just jump out there in the fall. And you got people like Nick Saban running around saying, that's like JV football. And oh yeah, we still need to give out a trophy. I'm going to let you respond to that after this break. We'll be right back with Keisha Kelley right after this on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all new 92.3 FM.
1140 AM and 92.3 FM. The legendary KYOK.
Has someone in your family lost a job recently and now you can't afford your mortgage payment? Or do you have a rental property and your tenants aren't paying you? Quick Cash Offer can come to the rescue and pay you cash for your home immediately. Yes, sell your home and get cash all over the phone without dealing with real estate agents and risking your safety by showing your home to lukewarm buyers. You don't need to lose your home to foreclosure. If you have any equity in your home, we will buy it and give you cash within days, all in a simple over-the-phone and virtual process. Call Quick Cash Offer now before the economy gets worse. Sell a home you can't afford or just don't want to get the cash you need today.
800-780-1431. 800-780-1431. 800-780-1431. That's 800-780-1431.
This is a potter's field. When people can't pay for their funerals, they are buried here. It is a lonely, desolate place, littered with unmarked headstones. No one visits. No one leaves flowers. But it doesn't have to be that way. For as low as $1 a day, you can ensure your family will have the money to pay your funeral expenses. We offer burial insurance plans that pay up to $30,000. Considering the average funeral costs more than $10,000, that's peace of mind for your family. There are no medical exams, your rates won't increase, and your policy cannot be canceled as long as you make your premium payments. Call now to get approved in minutes and ensure your final resting place is more than just a pauper's grave in a potter's field.
800-308-6729. 800-308-6729. 800-308-6729. That's 800-308-6729. Paid for by Final Expense Direct.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who help people that have been injured or wronged. If you've been involved in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or injured at work, you have rights, and you may be entitled to money for your suffering. Don't accept an offer you get from an insurance company until you talk to a lawyer. And we represent some of the best personal injury lawyers you can find. Tough lawyers that will fight to win your case. And they're so good they stake their reputation on it by only getting paid if you win. So if you've been in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or hurt on the job, find out today for free what kind of compensation you may be entitled to. Call the legal helpline right now.
800-547-4170. 800-547-4170. 800-547-4170. That's 800-547-4170.
This is Brian Courtney Wilson, and you're listening to The Lunch Break.
All right, y'all. We're back here on it. It's The Lunch Break right here on the legendary KYOK. Got my girl Keisha Kelley, Black College Experience, joining us. So glad to have her. And Keisha, before the break, I was telling you that a quarterback at Georgia State, heart condition developed as a result of having COVID-19, not going to be able to play. He even goes on to say, thank goodness that his family has the money and the resources, and that he got diagnosed while he was on campus in the football program. A lot of folks took that to say, oh, well, they need to be on campus, what have you. No, I got that part. They don't need to play until we figure out what this thing can do if and when somebody catches it, because somebody's going to catch it.
Yeah, and I think it's cold, I think it's heartless, I think it's techie, and I think it's tasteless for, the it's a whole JV type thing. I don't care if it's JV, I don't care if it's $1 billion a month program. At the end of the day, if you die, you die. And so it's not going to be okay, well, because we were this school or this program, it made it different. No, it's other people's children. They're entrusting you with those children. And it's so sad that we have gotten into a culture. We are so pressed to make money. And it's going to be more kids. It's going to be more things that happen. We haven't even saw the brunt of what's going to happen. They're so pressed to make these kids play for the money. It's like even other people are postponing. What's wrong with postponing the season? If you can't play right now, what's wrong with postponing? They don't even want to postpone the season. They just want to go directly into the season. And so to me, it says that you don't care about these students. You don't care about these kids. You don't care about what happens. It's that you going to play. When I say you going to play and we going to get paid when we say we're going to get paid, when I say we're going to get paid, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I forget which person I think they're a radio announcer in an HBCU, at an HBCU, and they literally said, here's why any coach making $1 million doesn't need to speak right now, because you're looking out for your money. You're not looking out for, and you got a statement that goes from, oh, it's JV football to, oh yeah, and we should have our national championship playoff, because if 3 conferences are playing, then we should crown a championship, because these kids want and need to be crowned as a championship. Their hearts don't need to be considered. Their family members don't need to be considered because they caught COVID running around trying to impress you. I don't understand how he does not see how far off base he really is.
And again, you said the term money. When you come down to a regular lifestyle where you're making $40,000 or $45,000, maybe your heartbeat will beat differently. Maybe your head will start to think differently when you start making money in a different way. And I mean, it's one of those things. The more money you have, it's just like things just start to disconnect. You can't understand, or you fail to want to understand, because like you said, you're watching your pockets. You're worried about what your pockets are going to be. And I promise you got plenty of money that this will not hurt you. I promise you, you got plenty of money. We know what y'all season going to look like. Y'all probably will win another championship, so it's really not going to hurt you. It's really not going to hurt you.
Yeah, Keisha Kelley, Black College Experience, breaking it down in a major way right here at the lunch break. So glad to have you. Keisha, again, we're not going to see any sports in most of the HBCUs until the spring. We already saw with the NFL draft last year how many of our kids were left out of the draft experience. Many of them got signed the next day as undrafted free agents. How do you think that's going to play out, given that many of them will not play into the spring? And, oh yeah, the NFL is not going to change their draft day.
Okay, I think they're still holding out. I think they're still happy. The ones that actually, were signed as undrafted free agents, I think they're still excited about it. But I think we're kind of just like sitting here waiting to see what's going to happen. And for us, not only were they, and I say robbed because it was, not only were they robbed of that, just that whole HBCU draft, but then you come with this, and I'm pretty sure none of us were thinking that it would extend this long. We were thinking it would have been over by now. So now not only was the draft affected and all those sports and graduation, all these things were affected for those students, but now you come into this and they're not going to change the draft day, and you're thinking, okay, well, can you have some type of leniency? Can you have some type of convenience? And this just shows us what that means. It's all about money. It's all about money. We just don't keep it. We're going to keep it moving. We're not going to change anything. And I have to say, if people could take a step back and show compassion and show heart and pull back into the seat of some of these people, then you will start to see things differently if you have to look at it from the way that we have to look at it.
Yeah. Keisha Kelley, I often talk about Coach Eddie Robinson, may rest in power, as one of the greatest, if not the greatest coach to ever, do what he did. Talk about some of the other coaches that we might not know, like we knew about Eddie Robinson, around the different schools that you're familiar with, so we can start giving them some love, because I don't believe everybody's like Nick Saban. I don't believe everybody is like Dabo Swinney. I don't believe everybody's like Scott Frost up at up at Nebraska. Talk about some of the coaches that really care about their kids and they graduating and their family situation and that kind of stuff around some of the places you've been.
Okay, this is ironic that you asked me that, because somebody did that before. So I always just drop the schools because I don't like to leave out the coaches. Somebody did that before. And
I was going to say, mind you, I know it's not an exhaustive list, but I want to start giving some love to places where we know our kids are going to be taken care of. Because Eddie Robinson, I would send all mine and myself to be under his leadership.
So I always tell people, of course, at Southern University, we have Pete Richardson. He was the dean of the SWAC. You cannot overlook FAMU. It's a lot of history in FAMU. FAMU is one of those places that I tell people, you got to look at places like Virginia State. You can't bypass those schools, because a lot of times, we hear about you can't forget about Jackson State. One of my favorites I like to talk about is Mississippi Valley. Okay. A lot of people, people talk about Jerry Rice, and then they talk about, they'll talk about Jerry Rice most of the time. And I saw this, they were talking about people that came out of the SWAC. They talked about Jerry Rice, they talked about Walter Payton, and then they talked about over at Alcorn, name escapes my mind.
Steve McNair. But they didn't talk about Willie Totten. You can't forget Willie Satellite Totten. So I was like, well, what happened to the satellite? I was like, you can't have a discussion. You got to throw him in there. So a lot of times we had these discussions, but we forget some of these people that come out. And I was like, he's one of those people. Alabama A&M. It's just some great schools that if I looked at, and you looked at some of these coaches and what they've done over the course of the time, and they actually had, and it's actually still up. I wish you were here in Atlanta at the College Football Hall of Fame. They actually have set up just for the Black college football. They actually have it set up to the end, I think, of September or October, where it's paying homage to all of Black college football from the beginning of time in 1892 up until the present. They have literally rolled out the red carpet for us, which is so funny because one of the guys that's there, he's like the director in college title, I don't want to lie, but actually is a two-time graduate of Grambling. And I often joke with him, I said, Sean, how did you choose Grambling? And you're from Atlanta. How did you find that school? Only for him to come back and say, Keisha, Eddie Robinson is my great-granddad. So they're Eddie Robinson's kin. It's a line of them from Grambling. I'm really close with a lot of them. So we all talk, we all keep in touch. One of them is a coach, a position coach over at Grambling, and we talk all the time. But, I think Eddie Robinson is one of those that's just near and dear to a lot of people's heart. A lot of people, he's just one of those people that you just can't forget about. And, a lot of times, we forget that Eddie Robinson was the coach and he was the teacher and he was the mentor, the tutor, cleaning the field and making the sandwiches and making sure the kids got to where they were going. And he did everything. He did it all. Yep. His wife did the laundry, all of that. I studied the life of Eddie Robinson because, you know, when somebody makes that big of an impact, and somebody tried to tell me, oh, he's like the Black Bear Bryant. No, he's not. He's Eddie Robinson. He ain't like nobody else. In fact, folks need to be trying to be like him. So don't try to, you know, make them superior and him, you know, a follower of them. That man did it all for thousands of young men and women, because I know young ladies who were blessed by his wisdom and knowledge. So, Keisha, I appreciate what you do. We got to have you back because we got to find a way to, not just highlight the HBCUs and what have you, but I want them to know more about, you know, your scholarship program, how they can, you know, support you. I want them to know more about what's real about choosing an HBCU and not just what other folks say, oh, well, it's less than this and you're going to have to settle for that. Trust me, you get in line over at PWI, you're going to be settling for things. You know, I want mine to be in a family environment and not just in an environment. So do me a favor, tell everybody where they can find you and follow you and all the great stuff you do.
So, of course, we're on social media on Facebook, it's The Black College Experience. On Instagram, it's just Black College Experience. On Twitter, it's Black College EXP. Of course, we are on podcast. That is going to be on Spreaker.com. And then, of course, our website is going to be www.blackcollegeexperienceinc. That's INC.com. Like you said, there is a donate button, so we're donation open 365. It's all there. So just like I said, just follow us. We got a lot of stuff coming up. We're working on a lot of different things. I'm going to actually be over on radio with Morris Brown on next week. So we're working on a lot of different things, just coming from here and there. Even in the pandemic, we're still busy. So, yeah, that's Black College Experience.
Well, Keisha, I'm gonna start sharing, what you guys are doing. I'll connect to some of the stuff I see on your website and on the Facebook page and we'll start sharing it here. But when I tell you I thank God for you, I do.
Thank you.
You are on a mission, and I want your mission to be accomplished. You hear me?
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, girl. Be safe over there in hot Atlanta, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you. Bye.
I said what's up, too.
I will. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. Keisha Kelley, y'all. Amazing. I am so blessed by and proud of that young lady. I mean it. I got to get out of the way real quick. Let Sybil Wilkes come up. Then we got another special guest who'll be joining us in the second hour. But, man, let me tell you something. That young lady is phenomenal. If you don't know yet about the Black College Experience on Facebook, Black College Experience on Instagram, Black College EXP on Twitter, and the Black College Experience INC.com, you got to check it out. I'll post those links after the show, but you have got to check it out. All right, let me get out of the way. Let me get Sybil Wilkes on here for an update on COVID-19. If you got comments, if you got questions, go ahead and hit me up, 281-453-1000, 281-453-1000. Again, we got another special guest be joining us in the second hour right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know today about the coronavirus. New guidance from the Trump administration that declares teachers to be critical infrastructure workers could send teachers who have been exposed to COVID-19 back to the classroom. Teachers who are exposed to the virus can be required to quarantine for 14 days during an outbreak, but this requirement could stretch a district's ability to keep providing in-person instruction. A new report from the ACLU reveals that even though Americans have spent most of 2020 inside their homes, social distancing because of the coronavirus pandemic, fatal police shootings have not stopped or slowed down. As of June 30th, law enforcement officers had shot and killed 511 people. Dr. Anthony Fauci urged COVID-19 vaccine researchers to aim to include minorities at higher levels. Black people represent 13% of the U.S. population, but so far, Black people represent only 4.5% of study participants. Please visit SybilWilkes.com to subscribe to my free daily newsletter. Be informed, be empowered.
All right.
Beautiful people, this is Major. This is why I love you on the lunch break.
All right, we're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK. Real quick update, Toronto leading Brooklyn 20-13 with about 2.5 minutes left in the first quarter. That's in NBA playoff action. We'll be right back right after this.
Hallelujah.
The legendary 1140 AM KYOK Conroe and 92.3 FM K222CX Houston.
The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the hosts, guests, and callers who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
Walk out on that field today. Ask yourself this question. What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We made it! We made it! We made it! We made it! I'm going to the house! I'm going to the house! When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it. It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's hunt now. Let's hunt now. Let's go. Let's hunt. We made it. I'm going to the house. I'm going to the house. We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, how we the Miami Heat of football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to buckle up the chin straps. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from him. He's a man. They can be a hit just like us. He's a man. You already make the big money. He's a man. Don't cry when you step on the field, man. That's war out there. When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. Oh, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We made it. I'm going to the house. I'm going to the house. It's a wrap. Game over.
Man, no, this game is not over at all. That was first hour on the books. Second hour underway right here on the legendary KYOK. And man, I loved that last segment with Keisha Kelley from Black College Experience. She is phenomenal. She knows her stuff. She is committed. She is focused. And she cares about the young people and their parents that she deals with. She has spoken at player symposiums. She has spoken at different schools about, getting properly registered with the NCAA after you have come out of high school. She is phenomenal. She's a real deal. And I can't emphasize enough that it is not settling for anything. When you choose an HBCU, it is getting ready to open the door to everything. When you choose an HBCU, it is not a lesser education or athletic experience by choosing an HBCU over another school. PWI. For those who don't know what that is, call me. I'll tell you. But again, real quick, sports update from yesterday. Rockets pulled away late. They ran on like a double-digit run in the fourth and pulled away to a 111-98 win over the Oklahoma City Thunder. That gives them a 2-0 lead in the best-of-7 series. Game 3 will be tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I'm tuning in to see what shoes Chris Paul's going to wear as he rocks the HBCU shoes and colors. Other scores from yesterday: Miami beat the Pacers 109-100. They lead that series 2-0. Miami is the lower seed. They're the number 5 seed. The Pacers are the number 4. Milwaukee got right. They beat Orlando 111-96. That series tied at 1 each. And by the way, remember, where is Dr. Aki Davis? Where is Big Mike? Where they at? Everybody who was telling, but Big Time Floyd, where you at? I know that LeBron didn't play well. I know y'all are waiting on him for him to have some excuses. But the Rockets dog-walked the Portland Trailblazers yesterday. And I'm not even a Lakers fan. The Lakers dog-walked Portland Why? That's why they play the games. The Lakers weren't just the number one seed because they got nice uniforms and they wanted to honor Kobe. They can play. Anthony Davis went off. 31 points, 11 rebounds. He was hitting them inside, outside, around side. I mean, y'all kill me on this. Lakers getting, hold on. Hello, you live on the lunch break. Who this?
God.
Oh, I thought you were Dr. Aki or Big Time Floyd or somebody. Don't get it wrong now. Portland is for real. I know Portland is for real. But they got dog walked. Bruh, it's like sit, roll over, beg, high five, lay down, don't move.
Man, was it Dame time last night or was it vacation time?
It must have been vacation time. It was Anthony Davis time last night.
Here's my thing with Damian Lillard. And Big Mike's a Dame fan, right?
Yeah, big time. Dame and Portland fan.
So here's my thing with Damian Lillard. He looks unbelievable at times, right?
Yep.
But I've always said when you're dealing with guards, and Steph Curry has this problem too, and that's why he couldn't carry the Warriors on his own. That's why he needed KD. Is when you're at that stature, it's hard to carry teams deep in the playoffs when you like 6', 6'1".
Yeah.
Maybe 6'2". Look at all the teams that win championships. They all got a guy about their go-to guy about 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". Kawhi, LeBron, KD. They all got the stature to carry it. Dame got to do everything from the outside, not big enough to get to the basket. So it's not surprising they got that one win, in the first one. They played well, but it woke the Lakers up, and they're like, all right, enough of this, And the game was over. If Anthony Davis comes in locked in like he did yesterday, the Blazers won't win another game.
And that's what I have to give Anthony Davis credit on. He got off of that 3-point line, because he was a guard in college, and then all of a sudden he had that growth spurt and found himself 6'9", 6'10", 6'11". Bruh, you're not still a guard. You get your tail down in that block. And he was abusing people down there. There was a drive where they dropped it down to him down low. No, he started at the top of the key with the dribble. And, he kind of shook Nurkic, and then he leaned into him and showed how strong he is, and he put it up for the harm and the bucket. And I got to tell you, man, Anthony Davis came in with bad intent yesterday, and there was nobody for Portland who could handle him.
And that's the thing that, in today's game, every big is trying to shoot threes, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it makes me wonder if Shaq was today. Is Shaq trying to step out via spread, a center that's trying to be like Joel Embiid shooting threes? So.
But now, Todd, don't get me wrong. I like a big that can do more than just be big. My issue with Clint Capella was he had nothing outside of an alley-oop or the pick and roll. He had no mid-range jumper. He had no short sky hook. He definitely had nothing from the outside. And therefore, when it came Golden State time, well, guess what? They abused him because, they knew he was one-dimensional. You take away that pick and roll, you take away the alley, he got nothing. But by the same token, the bigs that's all they want to do, nah, baby, you got to get down low and get dirty, and you got to bump and grind a little bit, and Anthony Davis did that last night. And then let me say this part too. The Lakers defense got serious about everybody on Portland, not just Dame, not just CJ, but they got serious about everybody because everybody had a tough night in a Portland uniform last night.
Yeah, no, they did. So, that's the thing with Anthony Davis. Same with Joel Embiid. I'm not saying those guys can't shoot threes, but the other team would love them to have them shooting threes versus being down low. Because you can't stop Joel Embiid in the post. You can't stop Anthony Davis going to the basket. So these other teams, like in game one against the Blazers when Anthony Davis was 0 for 5 on 3, the Blazers like, cool, you want to stay out there? Hey, please. You know what I mean? Because we'd rather you shoot threes than get on this block because we know Nurkic can't stop you down low.
Yeah.
So that to me in basketball is always hyper, like with Shaq. People always used to get on to Shaq. Well, he can't shoot a mid-range. He ain't got a jump hook. Like, so what? You can't stop the dunk. If you can't stop the dunk, I don't need him to do anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, but but to that point, I was just going to ask you, but Todd, I think we are related somewhere down the line. How come more bigs don't get in a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar camp and learn how to at least try to shoot the one unstoppable shot that I've ever seen in my life? There is no stopping that sky hook. There ain't no blocking it. Like, you got to be 8'9" to be able to block that sky hook when a 7'2" center pivots, leaps up, and then releases that ball at the highest arc on his offhand. It's almost physically impossible to block it. If you can get that thing down, oh, baby. Oh, baby.
No, that's a good question. So, go watch an AAU basketball game, and that'll answer your question.
Okay, you did. Because my son played AAU basketball, and you're right. I know exactly where my answer is. You're right. You're absolutely right.
And then when you got young kids, let's say there's a kid in middle school or high school right now that's watching NBA basketball, and he's seeing all these bigs shoot. Hey, Brooke Lopez is another example, right?
Yep.
7 foot, man, he can't get on the block if his life depended on it.
Right.
So you get these big kids in high school and middle school, especially in middle school, they start seeing this, and then when they're out at the park or at the gym or at the rec center, what are they doing?
Right.
Shoot all these threes.
Yep. You're right. You're right. Todd, stay right there. I got to take a break, but I want to come back. I want to talk about this some more. Got Todd Malcolm joining me here on the lunch break on Legendary KYOK. Special guest will be joining us in a little bit, right at about 1:20. So we'll be right back right after this on the lunch break.
I'm Linda J. We all know Election Day is just around the corner. We want change. We need change. We can be the change. Exercise your right for change on Election Day. Don't talk about it.
Big time boy, I gotta calm
so
down.
let's roll to the
I gotta
polls
calm down.
in record numbers, and we can make that change. This message is approved by KYOK 1140 AM, 92.3 FM, and KYOKradio.org.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who've helped people that have been injured or wronged. Have you been diagnosed with cancer? Are you one of the millions who have taken Zantac or other generic versions of this popular drug to help treat stomach issues? Then pay close attention to this message. The FDA said it detected low levels of a probable cancer-causing chemical known as NDMA in Zantac and other generic forms of this popular drug. They've banned sales and even removed it from the market. If you've been diagnosed with cancer and you've taken Zantac or a generic equivalent, call the legal helpline now. You could receive a free cash award and have your medical expenses covered. And there's no upfront cost to you. They only get paid if you win. So please call now. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. That's 800-251-7816.
The legendary KYOK 1140 AM and 92.3 FM. The legend continues.
Tell you how you can get real health insurance for as little as $6 a day. Yes, now you can get affordable health insurance for you and your family immediately, starting at just $6 a day. And coverage is guaranteed regardless of your medical condition. That's right, for about $6 a day, you can have guaranteed health insurance. And there's dental, vision, and prescription coverage too. You owe it to yourself and your family to make this free call right now and learn more. There are no deductibles, no waiting period, no contracts, and coverage is guaranteed. Call National Health right now for your risk-free guaranteed health insurance quote starting at just $6 a day. Call now.
800-797-0921. 800-797-0921. 800-797-0921. That's 800-797-0921.
Now is a great time to replace your worn-out windows during the Renewal by Andersen 25-year savings event. Upgrade your home today. Buy 4 windows and get the 5th one free. Plus, get 12 months with no interest, no money down, and no payments. Call now. Get 4 windows and get the 5th one free. Installation and warranty included. Renewal by Andersen takes every CDC-recommended safety precaution to protect your family. For 25 years, people have trusted us for their window replacement needs, and you can too. Call now to learn about our buy 4, get the 5th one free window replacement offer.
800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. That's 800-245-1537.
Interest accrues from date of purchase, but is waived if paid in full within 12 months. Other conditions apply. We've adjusted our operations to serve you safely following all CDC guidelines. Visit renewalbyandersen.com for details.
I'm Ben Tankett, and you are listening to The Lunch Break. All right, man, we back here on The Lunch Break on the legendary KYOK, the all-new 92.3 FM. Todd, let me let you hear what Big Time Floyd say. He said, good afternoon, AJ and the Breakers. Calm down, man. Playoffs have just started. Still riding with the Rockets. To anyone in the West, you must get past James Harden and Russell Westbrook. They are not intimidated by anyone, including King James.
I agree with that.
Oh my gosh!
Hold on. Let me finish. I don't think the Rockets are intimidated by LeBron and them, but I think Anthony Davis. Going back to what I was saying earlier, if the Lakers and the Rockets match up, Anthony Davis has to abuse them in the block. If he builds them out with those threes, that's exactly what D'Antoni would want.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But Covington and Green trying to hold Anthony Davis, playing like AD played last night. Come on, bruh. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't. They better fill it up from the outside and outscore LA. But again, if LA brings that kind of defense, and I'll give the Rockets credit, the Rockets locked down defensively in the fourth and pulled away in that game yesterday. But again, I don't know, bro. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting matchup no matter who it is, whether it be the Rockets and Portland or the Rockets and the Lakers. All I'm saying is the Rockets better not get big-headed about what they're doing right now against whatchamajiggy.
Yeah, no, the Thunder, man, I was watching that whole game yesterday. I was like, number 5 for the Thunder, last name is Dort, I think, and then number 2, Shea Alexander. I just didn't realize they could not shoot. They had so many wide open threes, and if they could just hit a few of them, they win that game. But Chris Paul, the only outside shooter they got, and he's 35.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not overly impressed by the Rockets because the Thunder is so bad at shooting, and I didn't realize that until going into this series. The Thunder has, absolutely no shooting. But if Anthony Davis just stays in that paint, there's nobody in the Rockets, and the Lakers will control the pace of that game by playing that way.
Yeah, I got you. Todd, I got to roll. My special guest is on.
Okay.
But that thing you sent me about the kid at Georgia State, man, that right there said it all. And that's why Nick Saban needs to be quiet, man. He needs to just talk about football and leave all the other stuff alone. It is not a JV league. The kids don't have to play in a championship. And, oh, yeah, by the way, Nick, you good at a lot, but you ain't no doggone doctor or infectious disease expert. So he needs to sit down somewhere and chill out. Him and Dabo Swinney both, man, I've lost a lot of respect. It's a shame when I respect Tom Herman more than I respect Nick Saban and Dabo Swinney.
I think if they shut down football, I don't see Tom Herman going out publicly and saying those ignorant comments like Nick Saban is saying. Nick Saban just don't care. He just wants his football no matter what.
Like I said, I think it was Dr. Cavill, who was an HBCU announcer that said, if you're a coach making $1 million or more, shut up. Just hush. You don't need to be a part of this discussion. So, hey, man, let me run. I got to get my special guest in here, and we appreciate you, Todd.
All right, thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I got special guest number 2. He is an awesome brother, and I'm glad to be newly connected with him. His name is Dave Anderson. What's going on, sir?
Hey, Jay, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. How are you is the question.
Man, I couldn't be any better. If I had your hands, I'd cut mine off.
Bro, you be looking for your hands. I promise you. You get mine, you'll be looking for yours. Listen, man, everybody, Dave Anderson does some major stuff. Best-selling author, I'm jelly. Business coach to, wait a minute, celebrity business coach.
Yes, sir.
Bro, we got to hear about all of this today. Do me a favor, stay right there. I got a very short break. But when I come back, it's all about you, Doc. It's all about you. All right, we'll be right back with our special guest, Dave Anderson, right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It's Freestyle Friday, y'all.
Come on, let's give him a hand. The legendary KYOK 1140 AM. The legendary KYOK 92.3 FM. 2 radio stations in one.
You're home. You're a diabetic. You need supplies, but you don't want to visit the pharmacy. What do? Call US Med for home delivery of your supplies. If you have diabetes and you're worried about going to a crowded pharmacy, pick up the phone in the safety and comfort of your home and let US Med deliver them to you with free shipping. And now if you test your blood sugar 4 more times a day and inject insulin 3 or more times a day, you may qualify to get a new continuous glucose monitor at little or no cost, which may eliminate the pain of pricking your fingers and helps you make smarter diabetes decisions. Plus, we'll send you a 90-day supply and bill your insurance company for you. Get some peace of mind. Call US Med today.
800-417-0851. 800-417-0851. That's 800-417-0851.
I'm Larry Scott, host of the Not So Christian and Me Show. Join me Saturdays for great fun, interviews, music, and the latest news surrounding our world today. We are the show that cares to hear your voice and opinion with real conversation in a no judgment zone. So join me Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. on the Not So Christian and Me Show, right here on the legendary KYOK Radio, 1140 AM, and the all-new 92.3 FM and KYOKradio.org.
If you or a loved one is a survivor of abuse by Boy Scouts of America representatives as far back as the 1970s, we urge you to speak up. We'll stand with you and get you the help and financial compensation you deserve. A jury in Portland, for example, awarded $18.5 million in punitive damages in one Boy Scout sexual abuse case. The Boy Scouts of America filed for bankruptcy, and funds have been set aside to compensate those injured. Time is limited, and so are the funds. Call today. Don't wait. For free information on how to file your claim, call All Survivors Advocates right now. We have a long track record in helping our clients get the legal justice and compensation they deserve. Please, we are ready to help you. Call today.
800-351-7914. 800-351-7914. 800-351-7914. That's 800-351-7914.
My name is Devon McDonald from Jamaica. Play with Indianapolis Colts. And listen, you listen to the lunch break.
All right, y'all. That was my last little break for a while. I want to focus all on this brother right here, Dave Anderson, joining us here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It's Freestyle Friday. And, Dave, I got to tell you, man, I'm an author. And, I'm published, I done wrote, a couple, 3 books, got a couple more that I have to do by contract. How do you get to be a best-selling author, my brother?
That
part. That part. Tell us about your, the book that put you over the top, man. Tell us about that.
Well, I had written about 15 books, and they were all okay. And one day I was watching Monday Night Raw. I'm a huge wrestling comic book fan. I need something because my brain is always working, helping clients. I needed something that was going to relax. And my wife was like, "You don't ever do anything fun anymore." I'm like, "Business is my fun." And she was like, "Nah, like you don't watch wrestling anymore. You don't, mess with the comic books no more. Like get in." So I'm watching wrestling one day. Paul Heyman, who was based out of Philly, did ECW back in the day. He was on and he was talking about how Brock Lesnar was going to take over the Undertaker's undefeated streak.
And it's a real simple formula. And he said, eat, sleep, conquer, repeat. And I was like, well, damn, that's kind of like my sales process. Pitch, close, upsell, repeat. And when I put it out, it hit because I was talking about things from a real standpoint. I was talking about sales from my experience. You know, being in radio, once I retired, the joke was on me because I thought, okay, well, cool, I'll just get another gig doing something else. With all my experience, I could probably just sit back and consult. And folks was like, yeah, nah. So the only jobs I could get were sales jobs because you don't have to pay a salesperson. They just eat, they eat what they kill. So what wound up happening was I said, okay, boom. So I sold everything from gutters. I sold paint jobs. I sold cable. I sold home security. I sold home security for one company, and I was taking out ADT systems. So ADT hired me away from that company. And so in this book, I break down all of these sales processes. And what it comes down to is communication and things of that nature. So pitch, close, upsell, repeat really started to hit, and it took off. And then, we wound up doing the Breakfast Club and CNN and Forbes and Huffington Post and all that good stuff. And then, here we are.
Dave Anderson, bruh. I mean, seriously, that is a dream come true. And I have been that guy. I have been a sales manager. I've been a sales director. I've been a sales guy, high dollar stuff. And you're right. The principle is exactly the same. And I would have eaten that up myself, man. Like, even if I'm hearing it again, it's a reminder that that's exactly what you got to do, man. I'm real glad to hear that for you, bro. What's the name of the book?
It's called Pitch, Close, Upsell, Repeat. So that was the book that put me over. My new book, you're going to love this. My new book is coming out this week. I should say Tuesday. It's called Sell It Like Jesus, Principles and Strategies of the World's Greatest Salesman. So that's the look I always get, and then people do that and they go, oh my God, you're using Jesus. Yes, I am.
No, and I'm not saying it for that reason. I love it. I absolutely love it. Come on, bro.
Yes, sir. So, you look at Jesus and you say to yourself, what did Jesus do very well? And the one thing that he did very well was reputation management. He made sure that people knew exactly who he was, so he didn't have to introduce himself. When he was asked to do a task, he went above and beyond that task. He understood that no matter how talented he was still only one man. Powers or not, son of God or not, still one man. So he went out and he recruited a team, and he went and got Peter and his brother Andrew. Do you know why he started with Peter and Andrew?
No, tell us, please.
All right, so Peter and Andrew were fishermen, which meant two things. They knew how to act in different ports of call, so they understood the customs and the languages of different areas. On top of that, he got Peter and Andrew because they were brothers. Have you ever seen Deadliest Catch?
Yeah, sure have. Yeah.
Would you want to fight any of them dudes in the dark alley?
Not at all. None.
Okay, so you could be a hippie dude talking about walking on water and everything else. You got Peter and Andrew, ain't gonna be no problems. So, there's that. And then the thing of it is, he sees potential in people that even people hate. He went and took Matthew. Matthew was the coon of his day.
Right.
Matthew was the sellout of his day. He was I hate to say it, he's the Ben Carson of his day. And Jesus said, come follow me. And he turned a tax collector into one of the most popular Bible characters. So there's nothing that Jesus couldn't do. And so when you talk about him from that perspective, and then you run the numbers, like you like sports, obviously. So we'll do a tail of the tape. 33 million. Do you know what 33 million is? That is the amount of dollars that is spent in the black church every Sunday in tithes and offerings. That's just a black church. Every Sunday, $33 million a week. Best-selling book of all time. There is only one human being who has ever existed that has sold or had more books written about him than Jesus, and that's Muhammad Ali.
Oh, wow.
So when you start looking at his numbers, when you think about the merchandise, the movies, $15.5 trillion at the box office combined.
Yeah.
That's more than The Rock, Vin Diesel, Schwarzenegger, Redford, Paul Newman combined, and then some. You can have the entire Ocean's 11 cast, and they still don't add up to Jesus' box office numbers.
Man, that is amazing, brother. Dave Anderson setting us on fire right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK. We're going to have to talk offline because, like I said, I was not looking like that because you were using Jesus. I'm the guy that just finished teaching Reclaiming Your Inheritance. I'm the guy that's teaching strategic versus random. I mean, man, Bruh, let me tell you something. You talking my language, and we got to get somewhere we can talk it without interruption, like radio and all this other stuff. But man, that is phenomenal. So Dave, again, for you, what clicked in? When did you realize that you got a revelation that is going to help change other people's lives? Because you parlayed that into coaching, not just anybody, but celebrities.
Yes. And the thing of it is, I coach regular people too. But the thing of it is, right, if everybody is telling you yes all the time, then you have no gauge as to what is real and what isn't. And the fact of the matter is, the thing that you're good at might not be the thing that you're great for. So what I do is when I talk to a celebrity, and I sat down and I've coached a lot of people, so Charlemagne, DJ Clue, George Wallace, Les Brown, like I've coached a lot of people, Ananda Lewis, Sway the Remix God, who you might not know by name, but if you've ever heard, you about to lose your job, that's Sway. Yeah, that's Sway. So you have all of these people and they don't know what's valuable to their audience. They don't know what their unique selling proposition is. They don't realize how much value is in their name because they take it for granted. I used to take for granted the fact that I was a really good communicator. I would take for granted the fact that someone would come at me with an idea and I say, okay, scratch this, do more of that, do that, see you later. And then like, hey, I just made $225,000 from that idea. Thanks, Dave. And I'm like, and that was the thing. That's what clicked for me. When I realized that I was making companies millions of dollars and I was making people hundreds of thousands of dollars, or just tens of thousands of dollars off of one idea off the top of my head, I'm like, man, listen.
Yeah,
it's time for me to start cashing in on this thing. Not to mention, I was dying inside, AJ. Can we talk about people who, die at 24 but don't get buried until they're 80?
Come on, man.
Working a job that they do not like, can't stand, don't respect their boss. I love what I do. As many headaches as I have, I was laughing at the edge of my bed this morning, and my youngest comes over and she says, "Daddy, what's so funny?" And I said, "Irony." And she says, "What's irony?" I said, "Irony is I have problems that most people would kill for." So I laughed. You know what I'm saying? I'm living my gifts. I'm doing what God called me to do. And I'm helping people who look like me make money. I'm helping people who look like me reach their potential. And it does take hard work and it does take discipline. And I don't care if I gave you a Maserati right now, you still have to have the ability to drive it, would you not?
That's true.
You still got to put gas in it. You still have to maintain it. Everybody treats coaches like they're a microwave. Like all you got to do is just turn it on and boop, that's it. No. I'm here to show you the path. You still have to walk it.
Yeah.
And that's the game. So I just want to be able to help everybody and help raise the profile of people who otherwise wouldn't get respect or wouldn't get notoriety.
Man, I think that's amazing. Again, we got Dave Anderson joining us. He's a best-selling author. He is a celebrity business coach, done other amazing things. So, Dave, how did you get into that celebrity community to be able to, I don't want to use the word convince, but to be able to let them know, hey, I can help you?
Well, it was funny. It was just kind of a natural thing, as crazy as this sounds, right? I'm a big believer in what the Bible says, because even if you don't believe in the Bible, if you look at any religious text, they all say the same thing. What comes out of your mouth will show up here. So what starts here, comes out here, will be held here. So I'm like, I'll turn on the TV, right? And I'll see something. I'll get on my phone. I'll see something like, oh, that dude is dope. I should work with him. And then sooner or later, something will pop up, or I'll be thinking about somebody, or I'll look at an old magazine, right? Like I saw an old tape of Ananda Lewis, and 3 weeks later, she was on my calendar. I just spoke it into existence. Like, I'm a big believer in lining up and calling my shots. Babe Ruth would hit home runs, and he would look out and show you exactly where it was going to go. And that's the thing. We don't do that enough because we don't believe in that. People think that it's some type of metaphysical muckety muck, but you're sitting in church every Sunday talking about, oh Lord, let the Spirit hit me. But you don't believe power and life and death is in the tongue. The other part of that is, I had built a reputation for just being a really good producer, being a really great radio programmer, being somebody who was consistent and always there. And you build relationships over time. Some people tell somebody else, and then the next thing you know, phones are ringing. But it's not. I don't want people to get caught up in celebrity, because celebrity is easy. My VIP clients are easy because 90% of the work is already done. It's just little tweaks. When it comes to picking somebody who has, let's say $35,000 worth of merchandise. Like I have a client who's a longtime friend now, still a client. Her name is Kelly Thomas. She has a company called Kelly's Closet. And she was like, well, I got all this merchandise. What do I do? And I said, well, what do you focus on? She's like, well, I want plus size women to feel beautiful, but we sell to everybody. I said, yes, we can sell to everybody, but we focus on the plus size community, and we continue to grow that out. Victoria's Secrets are closing left and right, and Kelly's Closet is booming online. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in merchandise, probably on our way to $1 million. Like, that's what it takes. Somebody else coming in and showing somebody that they have value, showing somebody else that they can make it happen, showing somebody else that it's important. And discipleship is a big thing. I had a client say to me, she says, sometimes, Dave, I don't know how you do it. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she says, sometimes people will pay you to tell them what to do, and then they want to fight you on the thing that they're paying you to tell them to do. And I said, hey, that's human nature, because what I'm giving you is uncomfortable. It's scary. It's not your wheelhouse, and so we're working together to build out an empire, and I'm building a community of really smart entrepreneurs, and I don't want that to be lost in the whole celebrity business coach thing.
I'm looking for the young lady that we just had on last Friday. You work with her,
Marita Gilcrease, absolutely.
Gilcrease, right? And again, to see her, just her passion and her focus and her, she was real strong. I'm young, but guess what? I'm helping coach. I'm helping, people realize their visions and their dreams. And it was just mind blowing to me, because it's like at her age, she's already realizing that there is something in here that is valuable to somebody else in here. And I just thought that was phenomenal. And knowing that she works with you, I see it. I get it now.
Yeah, no, the thing of it is, and this is a problem, especially amongst Black people, but not exclusively amongst Black people. We do this to our children, and it's the worst form of abuse. It's, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was a full-time radio personality at 9. What do you want to be right now? Wow. Like, we got to stop why do you put limitations on your kids based upon your track record? You don't, like, an iPhone 1 can't do what this iPhone 11 can do. You understand what I'm saying to you? Yes, and just because you are the older model doesn't mean that you understand all the intricacies of who I am and what I'm capable of. My mom was a baby boomer. She couldn't fathom the things that I do. You understand? So you have to understand that there's a part where your programming ends and that programming begins, and we got to stop limiting people. That's why people are like, oh, well, I can't wait to be, like, they're looking at me and I got a shirt that says 9 to 5 retired, which is available at businessbullyshow.com for purchase. And, they're like, you're retired? How old are you? I'm like, I'm 42. Well, how long have you been retired? And I'm like, well, I retired at 34. And they're like, oh, well, I don't think I could do that. Well, you're right. You can't. Because you just said that you can't. Right. When you start putting limiting beliefs on yourself, you're telling 7 trillion cells that you can't do something. I tell 7 trillion cells I'm the greatest to ever do it. I am the best on this interview, on this microphone, on your stage, in your TV screen, and that's it. And until such time as somebody comes along to knock me off, it's going to be some slow stinging and flower bringing around here, because I am what that is.
Dave Anderson, also known as the business bully. That was the other thing that I saw on there. We'll talk about that in a second. But Dave, go back to you as a child. When did this kick in for you? How did it get started and ignited for you to what we see today?
Lincoln famously says, all that I have and all that I ever hope to be, I attribute to my mother. I'm lucky because I had 2 parents who had 2 diametrically opposed schools of thought when it came to business. My father, he served in Korea. He was a federal agent. He worked in state and local law enforcement. He also did like off-duty security for everybody from Martin Luther King, not on that day, James Brown, folks like that. He wanted to buy a corner store, and he partnered with his brothers, mistake I wouldn't have made, but he partnered with his brothers, and my brother and I are sitting there watching this big white truck pull up, and it has the 2 most popular video games in the area. So this is the 80s. So everybody doesn't have a video game system on their phone. Everybody doesn't have an Atari or a Nintendo or any of that. So he was like, these kids around here can't afford to go to the arcade. They can't afford to go and go to the mall or have a game system at home. So I got the two most popular games. This guy tells me these are the two most popular games. Y'all are hyped. So I'm going to pump quarters into these games every single day. And then folks are going to come and their kids are going to come and like, where you going? Well, I'm going to Anderson because he got Street Fighter or whatever it was. And he said their mamas are going to say, well, go get me a pack of Benson and Hedges menthol ice. Go get a loaf of bread. Go bring me some milk. And every day that store was packed. So that was my daddy's school of thought. I don't know if you're married or have women in your life, AJ, but I imagine.
My life, yeah.
Okay, excellent. Have you ever been to a salon with her?
No.
Okay. When women go to a salon now, in the mid 80s, my mother did something really revolutionary. She would have like televisions up, and she had fresh flowers, and she would have like cheese plates and fruit salads and champagne while they waited, and she'd have a manicurist come in, somebody playing a harp or whatever the case may be. It was an experience, so they would sit around and be comfortable and gossip. She called it the girlfriend experience, and she named her salon Girlfriends. Now you see that in every single salon in America.
Wow.
If she had me at this age back then, I'd have told her to copyright that, and it would have been a system, and she'd have sold it all over the country. So my mom came from Cheney University. We started in the Richard Allen Projects. Cheney University she graduated from, got a graduate degree from the University of Penn. So my mom was, teacher, educated, that type. My dad was street, tough cop, figure it out. And so I got street, tough cop, figure it out, and Ivy League education together, and it's like I got the best and worst of both worlds.
David, stay right there. I gotta take a quick break. I'm gonna be right back. You're killing us, bro. We'll be right back right after this.
Has someone in your family lost a job recently, and now you can't afford your mortgage payment? Or do you have a rental property and you're
all right?
paying you? Quick Cash Offer can come to the rescue and pay you cash for your home immediately. Yes, sell your home
like people all the time.
without dealing with real estate agents and risking your safety by showing your home to lukewarm buyers. You don't need to lose your home to foreclosure. If you have any equity in your home, we will buy it and give you cash within days, all in a simple over-the-phone and virtual
I can't
process.
even see the comments.
Call Quick Cash Offer
there we
now
go.
before the economy gets worse. Sell a home you can't afford or just don't want to get the cash you need today.
800-780-1431. 800-780-1431. 800-780-1431. That's 800-780-1431.
This is a potter's field. When people can't pay for their funerals, they are buried here. It is a lonely, desolate place, littered with unmarked headstones. No one visits. No one leaves flowers. But it doesn't have to be that way. For as low as $1 a day, you can ensure your family will have the money to pay your funeral expenses. We offer burial insurance plans that pay up to $30,000. Considering the average funeral costs more than $10,000, that's peace of mind for your family. There are no medical exams, your rates won't increase, and your policy cannot be canceled as long as you make your premium payments. Call now to get approved in minutes and ensure your final resting place is more than just a pauper's grave in a potter's field.
800-308-6729. 800-308-6729. 800-308-6729. That's 800-308-6729. Paid for by Final Expense Direct.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who help people that have been injured or wronged. If you've been involved in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or injured at work, you have rights, and you may be entitled to money for your suffering. Don't accept an offer you get from an insurance company until you talk to a lawyer. And we represent some of the best personal injury lawyers you can find. Tough lawyers that will fight to win your case. And they're so good they stake their reputation on it by only getting paid if you win. So if you've been in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or hurt on the job, find out today for free what kind of compensation you may be entitled to. Call the legal helpline right now.
800-547-4170. 800-547-4170. 800-547-4170. That's 800-547-4170.
I'm Ben Tankett, and you are listening to The Lunch Break.
All right, y'all, we back here on it, man. I'm trying to tell you, I just told our special guest off the break, I feel like he's poured gasoline on me and just said, poof, and I am on fire. We got Dave Anderson joining us. He is a best-selling author. He is a celebrity business coach. He calls himself, what is it, the Business Bully?
The Business Bully, yes, sir.
Business Bully. And, man, you are really just dropping, not dimes, Doc. You dropping dollars on us right now with these golden nuggets. We appreciate you, man. So you were talking before the break. You got Ivy League and college educated on mom's side. You got the police, the figure it out, the street dad on the other side, and then we have their son. And you have a brother, right?
I do. I have an older brother. He's also a cop, but he's a cop, and he's got like a graduate degree in law enforcement. So my brother's dope, man. Like he's super brass tacks, hard body. Like we didn't have it easy. My brother did some things that I'm sure, in hindsight, he wish he hadn't have done. But you do what you got to do to get by. And the good thing is he became, a great cop. He serves honorably, and he's trying to protect people, which is what I absolutely love. And my dad died when I was like 25. So my brother, when my parents split, my brother, he's so much older, he's like 7 years older than me. He was my main father figure, still is, so I'm really blessed, man. And like the greatest joy in my life was to hear him tell me how proud he was of me. Anytime I'm doing something, he's calling all the fellas we grew up with from the neighborhood, like, yeah, look what my brother's doing, this, that, and the third. He'll never cop to it to me. He's like, yeah, that's cool. And that's the thing. But like, everybody has played a role. Like my brother was like, yeah, okay, you did the Breakfast Club. You can't do that no more. I said, what you mean? He was like, I want to see some other stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. So then Yahoo Finance and then Forbes and then, that type of stuff. We've got Forbes and Entrepreneur Magazine, the November issue coming out. So I got two articles in that. So, just super excited about everything, man, because when I was a kid, the closest thing I saw to me was Les Brown and Byron Allen. And I'm neither Les nor Byron. Okay. I'm a bit of a different animal. And so I hope that there are kids who see me and, my team and the people that I coach and say, I can do this. Examples are extremely important, and so I just, above all else, man, like all the other stuff is great, but being an example to people and showing people that it can be done if you're willing to put in the work is the greatest thing that I hope to contribute to society.
Man, that's outstanding. Dave Anderson joining us here on the lunch break. Where did the Business Bully come from? What's the concept behind that?
All right, so we live in a world, like when I was a kid, and I don't know about you, when I was a kid, I used to love baseball. I didn't like to watch it, but I loved to play. And I'm going to be honest with you, I was hot trash truck juice. So there was a recreation center league in Philly, right? And I auditioned, I tried out for Belfield Recreation Center, and I made the team. I made third string right field. But there were 23 other kids who didn't make the team. So I earned my spot at third string right field. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Now we live in a world where kids get 17th place trophies as big as the championship. So in a world where, you're getting championships for being mediocre, then accountability comes across as bullying. So one day I'm on Facebook and there was this person I call the Ask, A-S-K, hole, and he kept asking the same question. I think he made cookies or some dumb junk, right? And I made him a deal. I said, listen, I'll come in, I'll and assume all the financial risk for 40% of your company. You don't have to do anything. You just keep making cookies. We'll manufacture them. We'll put them in tins, so on and so forth. And he was like, oh, I don't want to give up 40% of my company. I said, well, you have 40% of nothing right now. So we're in this group, and he's continuing to ask questions because he doesn't want to pay for coaching. He's not invested in this situation. And so I told him, I said, bro, all you are is an ask hole. All you do is ask, but you never apply to the task. And somebody decided to put a cape on and say, well, Dave Anderson, that's mean. You're a business bully. Everybody's got to start somewhere. I said, well, he's been doing this for 5 years. I don't mind everybody starting somewhere, but when's he going to start? And correction, I'm not a business bully. I'm the business bully. And then I called my attorney and had to file the paperwork.
Dave Anderson, I love it, bro. I love it. And this is the thing that I love about it is that I love it's you doing it. And I'm sorry, man. I'm just, I love us. I love that it's you doing it. Mm-hmm. And we need, how do we get this to be contagious like Corona, where it spreads to more of us?
The only thing that I understand, and this is the thing that we have to understand about people, especially us, we don't believe it until it succeeds. I was the same dude before I got on the Breakfast Club. I was the same dude before I got in Ebony Magazine. I was the same dude before CNN and all the rest of that. But people don't believe it until they see it as something that they respect. So I continue to show up where people respect that venue or that platform so that they can see that it's real. And then, like the thing of it is, right now I have 75 active clients. I have a 75 client roster. They all ain't lying.
Yeah.
So at some point you got to sit up here and say, okay, well, why are this many people saying thanks, Dave Anderson? There's got to be something to what I'm doing. And so the other part of that is we got to make entrepreneurship sexy again. Right? Mm-hmm. Because the only entrepreneurs that were sexy when I was growing up were drug dealers.
Mm-hmm.
And the only job that was sexy was rapper or ball player. If you weren't a rapper, ball player, drug dealer, you could forget it. And so now we got to start looking and saying, okay, they're just now getting back to basketball. Mm-hmm. The corner boys ain't got nothing to do because there's a whole bunch of cats sitting around with Corona. I mean, and the weed dispensaries are taking up all the, the corner man $300 weed dealers. So at this point, you're more likely to get struck by lightning than to go platinum as a rapper twice. Yeah. So struck by lightning twice. So it is easy in comparison to create something and do drop shipping on Shopify. It's easy to take the stuff that you have been having lying around in your closet and sell it and flip it as vintage clothing. It's easy to take your old video game consoles and flip them on eBay. It's easy to make plates and start creating a catering service and getting those things up. It's easy to start a blog. It's easy now. You got a whole TV studio in your pocket. You don't have to go out here and buy a TV network like I did. There's things that you can do right now in order to get the money. And I want to tell you the thing that the problem is that we're addicted to conditioning. Think about this, AJ. I don't know you. We've only had maybe 2 conversations in my entire life, including this one. But I do know this. I do know that at some point you were going to kindergarten, 1st through 12th grade. I don't know if you matriculated beyond that. But the point of it is you were taught to go someplace for 8 hours that you did not want to be. You were taught to stand in line in size order. You were taught when to go to the bathroom. You were taught when to eat. You were taught that Friday is the day you live for and Monday is the day you dread. That was ingrained into you.
Right.
There are times I don't know what day of the week it is. So I just say it's a day that ends in AY and it means that there's some money coming to me today. And that's what it is. When you get off of the biweekly insult that you call a paycheck and get on the revenue generating train, it becomes a different ballgame because here's the thing. If they're like people like, I got a good job. I make $80 an hour. Oh, yeah? How much do you generate, though? Because if they can afford to pay you $80 and keep the lights on and do everything that they do, how much of that do you think is attributed to you? And how much do you see of it? I guarantee you it's barely 10%, if that. But if you're the creator, if we go from being consumers to creators, if we go from being shoppers to producers, if we go from being customers to being owners, then it becomes a different type of situation. When you go from being an earner to being an owner, you can have different conversations. And payday is anytime you pick up the phone. The other day, just yesterday, I'll give you an example. My wife and I do a podcast together called It's Not My Business, right? We talk about pop culture, people, politics, everything. And we were having a conversation because there were some people in our Facebook group acting crazy. Long story short, I said, we're full-time blank holes. Right. And I said, T-shirt coming soon. And before that live was over, I had the website bought. I had the T-shirt designed and I had them up for pre-order. We've already sold out. We're just doing a second run right now because I'm not playing there. If there's an opportunity, I'm going to find it. And we sleep on the money. It's right there.
Yeah. Keith Hennick wants to know the TV network. He says, please talk about that.
Absolutely. I wonder if Keith is related to Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. But the network is called Business Bully TV. It's on every streaming platform: Roku, Amazon Fire TV, iOS, Android, Samsung TV, anywhere you stream, and streaming live 24/7 and on demand at businessbully.tv. I don't like what I see, so I become the change that I want to see in the world. I don't like black women getting on tables and throwing drinks at each other as if that's reality, when black women are the number one minority group in the C-suite for corporations, when black women are the fastest growing and most stable entrepreneurs in the country. I have a problem with the way that they are showcased. I have a problem with black people either being thug number one, I ain't got no weapon, or some type of buffoon that doesn't have himself together, or he doesn't value sisters. And so I wanted to create a platform where people could come and see everybody doing their thing. So if you like gossip, we got it for you. If you like short films, we got it for you. If you like documentaries, you got that. You want to see my old radio stuff when I was interviewing celebrities and being just as irreverent as I am now? Yeah, I got that for you too. You know, so there's a bunch of great content that we're adding out there. And then we have shows where we talk about how to structure a business, how to build out what it takes in order to get your team together, what it took for me to get from nowhere to now here. And so I wanted people to see it in real time. And I wanted a place where not only my journey could be documented, but the journey of everybody who looks like me could be documented.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Man, let me tell you something. We got to get ready to go. But I want to leave you with this question. Why don't we have, and it doesn't have to be like, but why don't we have our own Walmarts and our own Home Depots and our own Lowe's? And man, we're in the fourth largest city in the United States of America, and it's hard to find a black-owned grocery store chain in our city. And I feel like there's either a gap or a blockage where we don't think that we can do that. When I look at the Forbes list and I see everybody named Walton with $50 million, $60 million beside their name as far as income goes, why don't I see, and I'll use me, an AJ Jones or an El Michelle or somebody like that? That's where I want to figure out how we can be the bully coach to get folks to step into that dimension, as well as, like you said, the entrepreneurial dimension.
First of all, El Michelle is a dope name to sell anything. It just rhymes and it sounds great. Secondly, there's a few things. Here's a few things, right? First, we backed out of farming because we weren't getting the grants and subsidies that that white people were getting. You can ask Martin Luther King about that. You can Google that for yourself. Secondly, if we're being redlined domestically, we're being redlined commercially. So it's very hard to get access to capital. Third, debt to income ratio. All these educated black folks with all these degrees like a thermometer, but still don't know the temperature, can't figure out why they can't get anything done. It's your credit, stupid. If your credit is horrible because your debt to income ratio is so out of whack, then guess what? You're not going to be able to get a situation where you can get $300,000 or $20,000 or $1 million for a commercial building, plus the insurance, plus being able to make payroll and all those other things. So it's a situation where all of that stuff is in play. Plus, very few black people know how to market on a large scale. Then on top of that, we've been told, don't go in the water. Ooh, fire, scary. So when it's time to advertise, when it's time to invest, we're taught to get a quick nut as opposed to a long romantic walk on the beach, candlelight, dinner, all the time. We're not there. We want it right now. And we don't know how to delay gratification. And we don't understand that I'm not working for me. I'm not working for my ego. I'm working for my great-great-grandkids who I'll never see. I have made the name Anderson synonymous with success again. Yeah. That's my responsibility.
I gotta go. We gotta go. Brother, tell everybody real quick where they can find you or follow you.
Awesome. So you can follow me on all platforms at The Business Bully, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. And if you want a free copy of Pitch, Close, Upsell, Repeat, go to thebusinessbully.com. Thebusinessbully.com. I'll give you the book for free, physical book. All you got to do is pay shipping.
Dave, bruh, I don't know when, where, or how. We got to get back together. Bruh, thank you. I mean it. Thank you, Dave Anderson, The Business Bully.
Thank you for the platform. I appreciate it, AJ. Thank you so much.
All right, y'all. Y'all know we got to go. Of course, we got Donnie McClurkin up next with the Donnie McClurkin Show. Of course, you got great new shows that are on tap for this weekend. Come Monday morning, Erica Campbell and Griff, and then your boy will be back with Media Munchie. As always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. Dave Anderson, man, I can't thank you enough. We'll talk to y'all. Lord say the same on Monday.
The legendary 1140 AM KYOK Conroe and 92.3 FM K222CX Houston.
Okay, brother. Oh my
Yes,
God.
sir.
Oh my gosh, man. I'm gonna drop you some information, and
Yes,
then
sir.
however we can go from there, man. I mean that.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you, man. This was phenomenal.
I appreciate it. Can I get a copy of the tape?
Yes, sir. I will edit it up, send it your way.
My man. Yeah, whatever you need, brother. I'm here for you.
Okay, man. Thanks again,
All
Dave.
right.
Have
Thank you so much. You got it.
All right, man.
See you soon.
Okay. You too. Y'all, this man just blessed us indeed. I want to thank my friend Stephanie D. McKenzie for that connection right there. Man, oh man, oh man. That was phenomenal. Y'all know how we do it. We try to bring the best to you right here on the lunch break. So y'all stay connected, stay safe out there. You know, again, only thing you can do is wear your mask. Y'all see I got my new whip. Wear your mask. Wash your hands 30 seconds or more. Sanitize everything around you. Be sensitive to people around you. Whether you believe in COVID or not, give folks their feet. And when you see that racism, kill it. Not the person, the racism. We don't need that. We got stuff to do. All right, y'all take care. We'll see y'all on Monday.